Hello students, welcome to my channel. So let's learn something new today. It's about the topic microorganisms, science topic. This is from the class 8. Microorganisms. This is chapter 2 of class 8 science. So today I'm going to tell you about this topic microorganisms. So what are microorganisms? In simple language, the term micro means as very tiny and very small. Very tiny or very small. Okay? So the term micro, I told you, is very tiny or very small. And organisms can be anything. We are the organisms on earth. But in this chapter, we gonna study about those organisms which are very, very small or very, very tiny. These are so small organisms that we cannot see them with our naked eyes. So what you require to see those organisms? What we require to see those organisms is the microscope. Microscope. So microorganisms, if you need to define the microorganisms, how will you define microorganisms? Now the question arises, how will you define the term microorganisms? So microorganisms are those organisms which are so small to see with the naked eyes. We can see these organisms with the help of microscope only. So microscope is the instrument which is used to see these microorganisms. Now these microorganisms can be present anywhere. They can present here in the room, here in the air of this room. These microorganisms can be present in the soil. These microorganisms can be present in the water and can be present on the surface of any body. So where do these microorganisms live? So these microorganisms can live or can stay in air, in soil, in water and on the surface of a body. What is mean on the surface of the body? So on the surface of the body means that these microorganisms can be on the surface of any object. They can be on the surface of human body also. Microorganisms can be present in air also, in soil also, in water also and on the surface of the body also. So based on the category where they live and how small they are and what is the type of their feed and what is the type of their reproduction and how they grow. So there are basically various categories of microorganisms also. We're going to discuss about those categories in the next topic. So how the microorganisms are classified? So microorganisms are classified under the 5 categories. So first category is bacteria. Second category is viruses. Third is protozoa. Fourth is algae. And the fifth is fungi. Okay. So these are the basically 5 categories, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in which the microorganisms are divided. And the singular of bacteria is bacterium. Singular. Means if there is only one bacteria, then it is known as the bacterium. If there is a collection, then it is known as the bacteria. Viruses, a singular of viruses is virus. A singular of protozoa is protozoan. Singular of algae is alga. And singular of fungi is fungus. So these are the 5 categories of microorganisms. Now we will discuss one by one each category in little detail. So let's take the first category, which is the bacteria. Okay. So bacteria are also very small organisms. That's why they are classified under the term microorganisms. And these bacteria can live in air. These bacteria can live in soil. Okay. And these bacteria can also live in water. These bacteria can be found anywhere, in soil, in air, or in water. Okay, so next I tell you about the shapes of the bacteria. The bacteria are basically found in the three shapes. The first shape is the rod-shaped bacteria. Rod-shaped bacteria. Second is the spherical bacteria. And the third is the spiral bacteria. Rod-shaped bacteria, what it means, the rod shape, it means that the bacteria are of this shape. And what is this spherical shape bacteria? They are like just ball. Ball is a kind of a sphere, round objects. So spherical shape bacteria are round bacteria. And what are the spiral shape bacteria? They are like this. Okay, so these are the three shapes in which the bacteria are found. Next, these bacteria are harmful and they can be as a friend to you also. What is meant by the bacteria as a friend to the human beings? That is, in this case, the bacteria are actually as useful to us. Useful bacteria. And there can be the harmful bacteria. Okay. So what are the useful bacteria means? Useful bacteria, an example for the useful bacteria is the lactobacillus. Lactobacillus is a useful bacteria. This bacteria is found in curd and this is a very good probiotic bacteria. It helps in improving the digestion system of the human body. And where this is found? This is found in curd. And harmful bacteria are those which causes you diseases. They are known as the harmful bacteria, or the next category, I mean, this is an example of our useful bacteria. So next is the harmful bacteria. In harmful bacteria, they are known as the disease causing bacteria. And all the disease causing bacteria or the disease causing microorganisms, they are known as the pathogens. What they are known as? They are known as the pathogens. So what are the diseases which are caused by the bacteria? So I tell you now about the diseases which are caused by bacteria. So examples of those diseases are cholera. They can be typhoid. Typhoid is a kind of a fever. And they can be TB. What is TB? TB is tuberculosis. What is tuberculosis? Tuberculosis is a disease in the lungs. It acts on the respiratory system of the human body, and the person who is suffering from TB is suffering from coughing also. Okay, he keeps on coughing. So this is a TB disease. So these are the three examples of the bacterial diseases: cholera, typhoid, and TB. And this is very important from the examination point of view also for the CBSE syllabus, that mostly this question is being asked in the exams that give examples of the diseases caused by the bacteria. So what you will write? You will write cholera, typhoid, and TB. So this is all about the bacteria topic. Now next we will take about the virus. So the topic 2 is virus. So what are viruses? Viruses are the microorganisms. They are even smaller than the bacteria. They are even more smaller than bacteria. If I draw a virus, it some way look like this. Okay, this is just a basic structure of a virus, but the size of virus is smaller than the size of bacteria, which we have done in the previous topic, bacteria. So the size of bacteria is even smaller than the size of, the size of virus is even smaller than the size of bacteria. And this virus is actually little complicated microorganism. Why it is complicated? Suppose this virus is outside any cell, outside the living cell, like it is present in the air. I mean, the virus is now in the air. It is not inside the human body or inside a living cell. It is in the air. Then this virus actually does not do any respiration process, any kind of growing process. No growth is shown in this virus. It will not feed, it will not reproduce. Okay, so what the conclusion from this is taken is that the virus, when it is outside the living cell, the virus does not perform any of the activity like respiration, growing, feeding, reproduction. So it means the microorganism which is not performing any of these activities is termed as a non-living organism. But this virus has a typical property that when this virus enters into the living cell, once this virus enters into the living cell, it starts reproducing. So when this virus enters the living cell, it starts reproducing. Reproducing means it starts dividing, it starts increasing in number. Okay? So the virus, when it is outside the living cell, it is not performing any of these activities, but when it enters the living cell, it is start producing the activity like reproducing. So now the virus behaves as the living cell. So once it was the non-living cell or the non-living organism, now it is the living organism. So the viruses are little complicated. So scientists have kept the virus on the borderline of the living and the non-living organisms. Now the question which is important from the examination point of view is this: why viruses are considered onto the borderline of the living and the non-living organisms? And answer to this question is, so when the virus is outside the living cell, it is not performing any of the activities like respiration, feeding, growing or reproduction. But when it enters into the host cell or the living cell, it starts reproducing. Okay? And behaves as a living organism. So this is the answer to the question. Mark my words, this is very important question. Next, the diseases caused by this virus. So what is the name? Very familiar name. HIV virus. Okay? And the disease caused by the HIV is AIDS. Polio. Polio is another disease which is a disease caused by virus. One example is HIV AIDS also. HIV is the name of the virus, and this virus causes the disease AIDS. And this is another disease named as polio. This is also a disease caused by some virus. Fine. So this is also very important from the examination point of view. In examination, it is also asked and can be asked that name any two diseases which are caused by the viruses, and answer is AIDS and the polio. And the virus which causes AIDS is the HIV. So the next are the protozoa. Third category is protozoa. So what are protozoa? They are termed as tiny or very small animal-like structures. Fine. So they are very small or tiny animals like structures which are termed as microorganisms and can be seen only with the help of microscope. And in this the examples like amoeba, which is very familiar to you guys as you are in class 8, and paramecium. Okay, so these are the two examples, and one more is the plasmodium. And one more is the entamoeba. Fine. Amoeba looks like this. Okay. Paramecium is a slipper-shaped microorganism. And plasmodium, this is very important term. I will take this term in little bit detail. Plasmodium, mark this term. Plasmodium is a protozoa. Mark these lines, very important. Plasmodium is a type of protozoa which causes malaria, and this is a very important question. So that's why plasmodium is also known as the malarial parasite. MP. Okay? So this is all about the protozoa. Now the fourth category of the microorganisms is the algae. Algae. Likewise, protozoas are defined as a very tiny animal-like structures. This algae is defined as a very tiny plant-like structures. Okay, so algae, why it is considered as a plant-like structure? Because they have chlorophyll in them and they do the process of photosynthesis. And what else is, the algae is found as a multicellular and in the unicellular category. Now the examples of both are very, very important. Mark it. So in the case of a unicellular, if I take the example is a Clydomonas. And the example for the multicellular algae is a Spirogyra. So how the Clydomonas looks like, mark this figure, very important because it is asked in exams like identify this figure. So this is a Clydomonas, it looks like this, and the Spirogyra, it looks like this. And the difference between both is the Spirogyra is a multicellular and Clydomonas is a unicellular. Fine. So one thing which is left in the algae is a one more type of algae which is a blue-green algae. This is a very important type of algae. This helps in the nitrogen fixation. So what is nitrogen fixation? I will put another video on the topic nitrogen fixation in detail studies. So this topic requires a one complete video. I tell you in short what is nitrogen fixation is conversion of atmospheric nitrogen to the nitrogen compounds which can be used by the plants for the growth is known as a nitrogen fixation. But I will upload a video on the detail of this topic nitrogen fixation. So for now only you need to know what is nitrogen fixation. It is the conversion of a nitrogen gas, atmospheric nitrogen gas, to the nitrogen compounds, and these nitrogen compounds are used by the plant for their growth. And in this process of nitrogen fixation, who is helping? This blue-green algae is helping. So this is one more category of a blue algae, which is a blue-green algae, and this is very important. The question asked in exams is like, name the algae which helps in the nitrogen fixation. The answer to the question is blue-green algae. So the fifth is fungus. So fungus are those which have no chlorophyll and no photosynthesis. Fine, they have no chlorophyll and they perform no photosynthesis. So fungus are the categories of saprophytes. I'm sure that you have studied about saprophytes in class 7 also. Saprophytes are those microorganisms which first converts the dead or decay part of the plants or the animals into the sap, and then they feed on that sap for their growth. And fungus do the same thing. They are the saprophytes. They feed on the dead or decay or the waste materials like stuff. Okay. So these are the categories of the saprophytes. In this, the examples are the bread mold. You must have seen if the bread is kept in the warm and moist condition for some time, something like green or white like something grows onto the bread. So that is known as the bread mold, and it is a fungus. So what environment fungus requires for the growth is the warm and the moist environment. Another important category of the fungus is the penicillium. This is very important. This is how the penicillium looks like. So this penicillium, why it is very important, I marked? Because this penicillium is used in the making of what? In the making of antibiotics that you take in the bacterial infection. So this is the penicillium. This is how the penicillium looks like. And what is the use of penicillium? It is helpful in making any antibiotics that doctors prescribed us na, when we are having any fever or anything. Then the doctor prescribed us antibiotics na. So these antibiotics are made up of penicillium, not penicillium. Penicillin is the thing which is extracted from the penicillium, and that penicillin is helpful in making the antibiotics. So the next important type of fungus is the Aspergillus. Fine. So how the Aspergillus looks like? So this is how the Aspergillus looks like. This is also a category of a fungus. So the important question on this topic comes like identify the figure. They gave you this figure and you have to name this figure. This is the figure of penicillium. They gave you this figure. This is the figure of Aspergillus. Mark these words: Aspergillus, penicillium. Okay. Mushrooms. Mushrooms are also a type of fungus. So this is a type of fungus which can be seen with the naked eyes. Okay. So this is one exceptional category of fungus, mushrooms, which we can see with the naked eyes. And diseases caused by fungus is the ringworm and athlete's feet. Fine. So this is all about the microorganisms, introduction to the microorganisms and the categories of the microorganisms. There are the 5 categories which I already discussed. So next we will see you another video. Let's learn something new about this chapter, and we will proceed the chapter in the next video.